Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of STSL Off the Track. And it is now week 6 of Monster Jam and Monster Trucks in general. And tonight's going to review these shows with me. It is once again Dorsey.
Yes, week 7 of Monster Jam. That just went by. Crazy to think that we've been doing this for the last 7 weeks now, but what a crazy weekend we had with a few surprise returns.
That's right. And then also with us is usually our Knoxville resident, Nafajan.
That is right. Talking about monster trucks, football, NASCAR, and other stuff.
And that is right. And so we'll go ahead and start off with the usual part called Around the World, or in other news, actually. We're starting off with what was painfully the longest game we've ever experienced this past Sunday, and that is the Super Bowl 58. The San Francisco 49ers fall to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they pick up their third championship in less than a couple of years. And we'll talk about that because what the heck? That first quarter, they literally went 0-0, and they go into the second quarter 10-3. Uh, and then the second half, well, it was still a little bit boring. It kind of picked up at some point, got a little bit interesting. They tied up and went overtime. Now they did have an interesting overtime rule that you know I'll probably let Nafajan here explain, which he likes to call it the Josh Allen rule. So I'll go ahead and Nafajan, what kind of rule was this?
So this was the new overtime rule that was added for exclusively playoff games after the Bills Chiefs divisional round game from January 2022. So basically, it states that in a playoff game, if a game ever went to overtime, then both teams will have a chance to get the possession of the ball, regardless of if the first team that gets possession scores a touchdown, the second team will still be able to get the ball to try to get the touchdown or try to get even better than that. So that was the whole deal right there.
That is right. And so the named MVP of this game was Patrick Mahomes. Now with 3 rings, and now there's a lot of conversations that everyone is starting to pick up again. Is Patrick Mahomes the next Tom Brady? What do you guys think?
It's definitely kind of looking like that, but I don't really say he's really the next Tom Brady. But Patrick Mahomes is the next legacy quarterback. He's already gotten 3 Super Bowls and 3 Super Bowl MVPs. He's already got 2 league MVPs. So he's definitely looking like the best quarterback in our era, like our time. He's just looking awesome. Like once he gets going, there's no stopping him. Love him or hate him, he's phenomenal.
It's a bit too early to say he's the next Tom Brady. Definitely, people have been comparing like the early years of Brady and the early years of Mahomes. If we're talking about like the first like 5 seasons of Brady, then yeah, I would compare that to him. But as an overall, I wouldn't say he's the next Brady yet. If he wins another 2 Super Bowls, then I think we should start comparing him to Brady.
Now, the other thing I've been hearing about lately is that people are starting to call the Chiefs the next Patriots, where they're starting to be unstoppable, almost make every Super Bowl, if not every other Super Bowl. Now that is more of a fair conversation to talk about. Mahomes may not be the next Brady yet, but the Chiefs are starting to look like the next Patriots. Dorsey, now your team was the Patriots. You did get to experience that era. What do you think about that?
Of of course, I experienced like the 2010 era. I didn't really watch football, of course, in the early 2000s. Uh, I started getting into it like what I said, early 2010s, around that. So we were getting a lot of wins during those eras. But as of right now, I wouldn't say it yet. Like what I said with the Brady Mahomes thing, I think it's still a bit too early to compare the two.
And Nafajan, what do you think?
I think that the Chiefs, they are definitely looking like they're becoming the next big dynasty. I don't really like to compare them like teams to different teams or franchises to franchises, players to players, all that stuff. I just like to classify teams and players, organizations based on their era. And definitely during this time, the Kansas City Chiefs are looking like the next big dynasty in the NFL. They've already won 3 Super Bowl championships over the last 5 years, went to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, and with Coach Andy Reid coaching them boys well, Patrick Mahomes with the team around him, Travis Kelsey, all the offensive, defensive weapons. It's definitely looking like the next dominant dynasty in the NFL, and I don't think they're stopping anytime soon.
Right, and only time will tell next season. Uh, so far, I mean, that's pretty much about it. The season just wrapped up. The Chiefs are once again back-to-back champions. Um, and the location of the next Super Bowl will be in New Orleans, Louisiana. And so honestly, that is a more interesting location to pick. Last time they were there was for the 2012 Super Bowl, for the 2011-2012 season, or actually no, excuse me, 2012-13 season, which is Super Bowl 47. No, actually 40. Yeah, I
It, it,
think
well, it
so.
was
Okay,
47.
yeah, it was 47. Yeah, I only remember I only remember Super Bowl 48. Um, so yeah, it is an interesting location to pick. A lot of people are starting to make predictions already. Uh, some people are saying that the Chiefs could make it again this time. Some people are saying that the Ravens could actually make it this time. If they don't, if they actually, if their team plays right like they did this last season, Detroit Lions could make it, but they probably could lose. But who knows? Like I said, time will tell. The next season's coming up in this fall, which is still a lot of time to go so far into this year. But that is NFL news. Now we'll move on to MLB stuff. First things first. It was announced that Commissioner Rob Manfred actually gonna be commissioner until 2029. Now I know a lot of fans, even myself included, are not happy because he is probably the biggest issue in the MLB right now. Um, and honestly, I wish he was able to leave right now because he is the biggest issue for the MLB right now. And honestly, why? I mean, like I know we got 5 more years, but just leave already. Talking about that, besides that man, we also have our baseball team starting the spring training in Arizona. Some of their looks are actually kind of awesome. I haven't seen all of them yet. I did see the one for the Colorado Rockies, all purple, and honestly, I kind of dig it. At first, I didn't. I don't usually like the all purple look, but then kind of looking into it, and it's just a spring training look. I do kind of dig it. But other than that, that is baseball news. Now we'll move on to some NASCAR stuff. And they did just have a race here tonight as of this recording, and I'm gonna pass it over to Dorsey.
So they just did the last two duels for tonight. Of course, we had 34 drivers already into the Daytona 500 every year. They have an extra 8 drivers because they only have 40 pit stalls. 2 drivers, unfortunately, will be out, and then the other 6 will qualify in. And what we learned yesterday was Anthony Alfredo and David Reagan both qualified for the Daytona 500. And then today was announced that Jimmy Johnson, and then literally just like 5 minutes ago, Kaz Grala will be qualified into the Daytona 500. NASCAR season is coming up this weekend, and we'll be making our predictions for the first race of the season. Uh, Real quick, of the 40 car lineup, we got Ross Chastain in the 1, Austin Cindric in the 2, Austin Dillon in the 3 car, Josh Berry in his first season with Stewart-Haas Racing driving the 4, Kyle Larson in the 5, Keselowski in the 6, Corey LaJoie in the 7, Kyle Busch 8, Chase Elliott driving the 9 car, Noah Gragson driving for Stewart-Haas Racing this season in the number 10 car, Hamlin, of course, in the 11, Ryan Blaney in the 12, Chase Briscoe in the 14, Riley Herbst will be in the Daytona 500 this weekend for the Cup Series. We're only talking about the Cup Series here. In the 15 car, AJ Allmendinger in the 16 car, Chris Buescher in the 17, Martin Truex Jr. in the 19, Christopher Bell in the 20, Harrison Burton in the 21, Joey Logano in the 22, Bubba Wallace in the 23, William Byron in the 24. Daniel Hemrick will be driving this weekend in the Cup Series in the 31 car. Michael McDowell in the 34. Like what I said earlier, Kaz Grala just qualified and he'll be driving the 36. Todd Gilliland in the 38. Ryan Preece in the 41. John Hunter Nemechek in the 42. Eric Jones in the 43. Tyler Reddick in the 45. Last year's Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 47. Alex Bowman in the 48. This season driving for Spire Motorsports is Justin Haley in the 51. Ty Gibbs returned in the 54. David Ragan returns in the 60. Anthony Alfredo in the 62. Zane Smith in the 71. Carson Hocevar in the 77. And the 7-time Cup champion Jimmy Johnson in the 84. And then finally, Daniel Suarez in the 99. What a list we have for the Daytona 500.
That is right, we do.
The race of all time.
Right, and so I do actually want to take it off to Dorsey. Since you did say you want to place in your predictions, who do you think will win the Daytona 500?
Well, the Daytona 500 is always a race where anyone could win this. Like last year, a surprise of a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. took the win last year for the first race of the season. And I think we're going to see another surprise this season, well, for this race coming up this weekend as well. And I think the winner of the Daytona 500 will be Austin Dillon in the 3 car. Former Daytona 500 winner. And I think he's going to make a major improvement from last year.
Now, Nafijan, I'm going to take over to you. Who do you think will win?
Oh man, I haven't thought carefully about this, but just for the sake of it, Kyle Busch. I mean, he's finally got to get a Daytona 500, right? I mean, while he's still being as competitive as he is with Richard Childress Racing, I think that's what it is, isn't it? The new team
Yes.
he's on. Hopefully, he can bring a win for them, but we'll see.
So we're both going with Richard Childress cars over here.
Right, and so I think I'm gonna think a little bit different here, because I was just thinking of William Byron in the 24 to win the Daytona 500. So I'm going with a Hendrick car here.
We're all going with Chevys.
All right, and so that is, I believe, all news that involve other sports or motorsports. Now we're gonna start moving into some monster truck news. Nafijan, there was some news that we heard from last weekend. What was that?
Yes, so about the Z Tour, the Monster Truck Z Tour, the Monster Truck Circus and Human Cannonball and that stuff. So it was recently bought by Danny Torgerson, who, yes, owns and runs the Monster Truck Nitro Tour. Bought all the rights for the Z Tour. Now it is still to be determined, like, if he'll also buy the names of the Garden Motorsports truck. That's still to be determined, but it looks like all the Z Tour events will now be run by Nitro Tour.
That was really crazy news that we heard out of blue. We don't really expect a whole lot of things, especially with a tour buying another tour. But as everyone knows, Monster Trucks with the Z is commonly known as a controversial tour, mostly because it's a quick cash kind of tour. And there's a lot of stories to where it's like for a lot of the things that they make or do, it's not even really worth it. So Nafijen, what was your opinion on this?
This is definitely a move. It is a business move. A very interesting business move in that fact. Let's see. I think, it is weird because, Nitro Tour, they got their own gimmicks. They do their glow in the dark stuff like that. Z Tour is very opposite, they're more outdoorsy. Outdoorsy. They like to do like circus acts and all that. So it's like two different, completely different tours. Very small tours in that as well. Garden Motorsports, they always ran their own trucks, and Nitro Tour, they have some independents, mostly Triple B. So I don't really know how to feel about this, but I guess we'll just see how it goes, and if it's successful, then good for them. But we'll just see how it goes.
Now, Dorsey, how did you feel about it?
I don't know how much I'm going to add on to this. Basically, what Jeremy just said, it was just a business move, and there's not really much to tell you until business starts picking up and see what they're going to do with this.
All right. And now we're going to start moving into the lineups we had this last weekend, starting off with the Ram Motorsports Spectacular in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, with the Cali Kid under Travis Ibarra, Identity Theft, the Black and Green Wrecking Machine with Marvin Anderson, the Napa Auto Parts Monster Truck with Carson Williams, Rockstar with Bill Payne, Spitfire with Dallas Glenn Rogers, and then we also had Kicker Monster Truck Tour making one of their rare few appearances of the year every once in a while in Hobbs, New Mexico with Black Stallion under Mike Waters, Higher Education with Chris De Hoyos, Jurassic Attack with Tim Hall Jr., Kamikaze with Joe Yuri, Overkill Evolution with Steve Thompson, Taurus with Ryan Robinson. And then we had Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live, apparently still doing concrete shows. We haven't seen anything, that related to the last time they were using dirt in France. Uh, this week they were in Trenton, New Jersey, with the same lineup as usual. They do have their own lineups. They were also in Berlin, Deutschland. Then we also had Lake City, Florida, with the 2X. I still gotta get used to this tour. 2X Monster Trucks live tour with Bounty Hunter under Rob Potter, Hot Tamale with Mike Brister, Scarlet Bandit with Don Green, and Shark Bite with Dan Dahlgren. And then Monster Truck Wars were in Williamston, North Carolina, and Glen Rose, Texas. For the Williamston lineup, it was Muddy Girl Camouflage with Ann Brode, Outlaw with Mike Hawkins, Shark Attack with Kaylee Engstrom, Sheriff with Paul Brode, and T-Rex under Aaron Basil. And then for Glen Rose, Preston Collins was driving Outlaw, Shark Attack being driven by Jerry, oh boy, Furajder. That's, I believe, how you pronounce it. And then we also had Sheriff under Adam Wilson and Devin Jones driving T-Rex. And then we also had actually not really the return. I don't even think this was for points because Crazy Train and Plain Crazy were not in this lineup. It is the All-Star Monster Truck Tour in Birmingham, Alabama. And I believe this is its first competition debut with All-American being driven by Josh Eckel, Colossus under Elliot Miller, Lomas Dangerous with Athena Kozel, and then we have the father and son duo of Terminal Velocity with John Zimmer Jr. and Uproar with John Zimmer. And then finally, excuse me, we had the return of the Toughest Monster Truck Tour in Youngstown, Ohio, with the DCT Power Sports crew and tailgater, including the Groth twins. Blockhead being driven by Darren Basil, Dirt Crew with Jerry Beck, Dirt Crew Dozer with Downtown Jack Brown, Maximus with Travis Groth, Tailgater with Austin Minton, and actually, hold on, this was a surprise as well. I even right up until this moment, I forgot to mention this. Austin Minton finally made his return in quite a few years. Last time we saw him drive, I believe, was with the 2 Extreme Camp, Jimmy Crean's team. I believe it was under Jekyll and Hyde if it was not Bounty Hunter. But Austin Minton, welcome back. And I believe this was just for this weekend. I'm not too sure on that. As we've seen Tim Jones take a few weekends off, had Trent Montgomery coming a few weekends, as well that Trent Montgomery will drive Tailgater in Waco, Texas, I believe in a few weeks. And then we also had Tyler Groth driving Colorado's own The Veteran. And then now we're finally moving on to the jams this past weekend for week 6. And we'll go ahead and start off with the shows we had this last weekend. Starting off with Arena West in my hometown of Denver, Colorado, and the arena where the 2023 NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets, won in. And so we start off with Friday night. Actually, before we even start off, this past weekend, Ashley Sanford was not able to make it for this past weekend as she was out feeling a little bit under the weather. And in comes in is Logan Ashline. Not just her. We actually had a couple of drivers come in this last weekend in several other tours, which we'll get to in a few moments here. So Logan Ashline drives Megalodon for Ashley Sanford, and we'll start off with Friday nights. Show 1. Your JCB Racing timed racing winner was Tony Oaks in Thunder Roars with a 10.917. Great Clip Skills Challenge with Thunder Roars once again in Tony Oaks with a 9.659. Then we also had Thunder Roars once again taking the donut, another competition win, this time in donuts. And then Brandon Vincent takes the freestyle competition win and still ends up on top, actually in a tie. I believe in a tiebreaker from the previous competition and freestyle. Brandon Vincent and Gravedigger takes home the overall from show 1. And then for show 2, Saturday afternoon, in timed racing, Monster Mount Rottweiler did not finish. So that leads to Gravedigger Brandon Vincent finishing timed racing with a 9.625. And then Knoxville Man, Dalton Widener, and Jurassic Attack gets the Skills Challenge win with a 9.704. And that is the first win of the weekend. And then Berto Trevino got a competition win here in the donut competition with the Rottweiler. And then we also got, and then that leads to Brandon Vincent and Gravedigger getting the Gravedigger competition, the freestyle competition win. And Brandon Vincent and Gravedigger takes the overall once again with whooping 27 points. So we move on to show 3. And boy, are we in for a good one, because I believe this had to be the best show of the weekend for Arena West. Starting off with the JCB timed racing competition, Gravedigger and Brandon Vincent wins with a 10.417 seconds. In the skills competition, or skills challenge, it was Tony Oaks and Thunder Roars with a 9.614. And then Knoxville Man once again gets a donut competition win with Jurassic Attack in 9.287. And then in freestyle, we'll talk about one certain moment here, but the winner was Thunder Roars and Tony Oaks. However, the very same night, Dalton Widener and the Jurassic Attack performed a backflip, which actually broke the truck. And we'll get to how they got it back out for Sunday here in just a moment. But Jurassic Attack finally got a... now here's the thing. A lot of people believe that this is his first career backflip. This is not. I believe if we're talking in the regular season, this might be. He's done a couple in the summer tours last year. But Dalton Widener got the backflip, almost did not get it. It hits the front, caused a little damage, and while it wasn't enough to win the freestyle competition, he got the backflip, which is the best part. But he did get this. He got the overall on Saturday night with a whooping 28 points. Now, there was some confusions, I believe, with one of the shows. If it was not this, I think it was either Saturday afternoon or Saturday night, where the overall went to Gravedigger, as I previously did mention in the Live from Denver episode. But he did get the overall win here on Saturday night. Now we'll move on to show 4, the show I was at, and I'll pull up some highlights we had here in just a moment. And that is at my Instagram at Lane_Flores2. So Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, Your JCP timed racing winner was Tony Oaks and Thunder Warriors with a 9-point flat, which was really impressive. And then Thunder Warriors once again wins the skills challenge competition. And then Gravedigger takes home the donut competition. And Thunder Warriors ends up 7th in the competition, which is no good because he did have the overall coming into donut competition. And then on freestyle, Tony Oaks comes back on his feet and takes the freestyle competition win. And then for overall, he, through consistency, was Brandon Minton and Gravedigger. So what a great show! And honestly, it was a pretty decently great show. Seeing Gravedigger, especially Brandon Minton, lose, probably had me all kinds of hype. We got friends that talk a lot of trash about Arena West, saying it's like, oh, just give him give Brandon the win. But I'm like, I don't know if it's this is the lineup itself. Like, it's mostly a freestyle win. Not a freestyle win. It's a freestyle tour itself. And also talk about Brandon Minton. He did collect overall number 200 this past weekend. And honestly, that is a great, impressive milestone for Brandon Minton. Take it off to Nofrigen. What did you think?
I thought this was definitely a good weekend of shows, especially Knoxville man getting a backflip. That's what I like to see.
Now, Dorsey, what did you think of Tony Oaks? Brandon Vincent's 200th overall and Dalton Widener's backflip.
Yeah, it's great seeing a bunch of different winners over this weekend. Shout out to Berto Trevino getting his first career Monster Jam win, and 200 overalls. A lot of people probably don't know, but Brandon's been driving full time now. Well, I feel like 2018 was his first full season driving Gravedigger, and then this is his 6th full season now, which is crazy to think that it's been 6 seasons already. But yeah, 200 is something a lot of people have not done. Oh, and of course, in Dalton Miner with the backflip is amazing to see.
Yeah, and then so we'll talk about Jurassic Attack. At Pit Party, the truck itself was not present. Now, I did go up to Matt Isbell talking about what happened to Jurassic Attack. He told me about the backflip, and it caused a bit of damage on the truck, and the entire Team Throttle crew took the entire night up until 4 a.m. fixing the truck, and to get it back out for Sunday. So honestly, kudos to the Team Throttle guys getting the truck back in shape, ready to go for another show. Because if it wasn't for them, that truck would not have been present, and it probably would have dropped an insane amount of points on just one day. And also, they didn't, and like I said, they didn't pull it back out for the Pit Party. They did, however, bring it back out during racing, which is honestly a awesome intro. Like, they didn't roll it out for intros; they rolled it out for racing, which is awesome. And honestly, this show was not bad. I'm starting to think this tour is not that bad. Sure, everyone's talking bad about how it's just basically the Brandon Minton show, but I think I did call it back a couple months ago, last year. Brandon Minton's gonna have some tough competition with Tony Oaks and Dalton Widener. And honestly, it was great to see exactly that, what I had called. So I was excited. I wasn't as excited as what I was before for other shows, but for this show, for this tour, after seeing it, I was like, you know what? It's better than I probably expected. Seeing Tony Oaks and Thunderers take most of the wins that day, with Gravedigger only taking one of them, but other than that, it was a great day, great weekend for Monster Jam in Denver, and
Yeah, I think Central's a little bit worse than West with the domination, because I think Weston's been putting up more points than Brandon has. Especially, well, the only competition he really had was Jamie Sullivan, and unfortunately, she got injured and missed a few weeks, and now Now he's basically like 188 points ahead. Central's a lot worse than West.
Well, talking about Jamie Sullivan, she will be back this weekend in Worcester, Massachusetts. However, she was out for a couple weeks. And for this week, we had one driver, not only one, we had two drivers come in. We'll talk about the first driver, and that is Joe Dennis, uh, who we'll get to about in just a minute. And then for the second driver, only because of a certain thing happening on Friday night from Joe, eventually got him basically out of there, and they had to bring in on last minute Chelsea Van Cleve. So we had Joe Dennis and Chelsea Van Cleve come in for Jamie Sullivan and the Dalmatian. And boy, once we saw that, we knew it was going to be over. So we'll finally get to talk about Central. Wilkes Barre, actually no, hold on, this ain't right. So get to talk about Central right now from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'll take it off to Nafagen.
That is right. Monster Jam returns to the Steel City PPG Paints Arena, the name of all time. They return there for Monster Jam 4 shows this weekend. So starting off with Monster Jam Racing, and we'll get to whatever happened with Joe Dennis after the racing results. So Teeny Man Weston Anderson and Gravedigger defeats Just Get Her Done 2, Brandon Telechka. But the first race of the weekend, Joe Dennis goes way too fast into one of the corners of the pod, causes him to flip over with so much speed that he takes out several seats and stair railings. Like, he got into the tarp area about 4 rows away from the people that were watching the events. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but Monster Mutt Dalmatian was done for the rest of that event. Moving on to the Two Wheel Skills Challenge and the Sky Wheelie competition. They're both won by Weston Anderson as well. In Monster Jam Freestyle, Brianna Mahan Scooby Doo gets to win, but with a whopping 31 points, Weston Anderson gets the first overall of the weekend. For the second event in Pittsburgh and the rest of the weekend, Chelsea Van Cleve takes over the duties for Monster Mutt Dalmatian. The racing finals for this one, Weston Anderson defeats Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco. Weston also wins the two-wheel skills competition that day. Brianna Mahan wins Sky Wheelies, and Weston Anderson tops off the day with a freestyle win and another 31 points for an overall event championship. Saturday night, Fernando gets the racing win over Just Scooter Done 2. Weston Anderson wins another two-wheel and Sky Wheelie competition. Brianna Mahan wins her second freestyle competition of the weekend, her third win overall, but the overall event championship by 1 point goes to Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco, staying consistent throughout the night. Then the final show on Sunday afternoon. Your racing finals. Defeating Brianna Mahan and Scooby Doo, it is none other than the legendary Alex Barden getting his first ever racing win in an arena. Your two-wheel skills winner is Weston Anderson. Sky Wheelie competition win goes to Brianna Mahan. And rounding out the weekend, it is Weston Anderson getting freestyle and his third overall event championship for Pittsburgh.
So what a weekend and was in Pittsburgh. So like you said, Joe Dennis crashed, or like Nofigen said, not Joe Dennis crashed into the stands. Like you said, luckily no one got hurt, but it did cause him to get the boot basically right then from there. And it caused to get the truck out of competition the rest of the night and last minute bring in Chelsea Van Cleve on to Saturday. Now we did. Now there is a couple things I did want to talk here. Is also Alex Barton's first Monster Jam career win under Stone Crusher, and no better than racing. I'd like to start off with Dorzy. What are your thoughts on that?
I've been waiting for this first win. I knew it was going to be coming. I honestly thought the racing part of it was going to be his first win as well, and he got it done. And even in the skills competition, even Weston came up and said Alex Barton deserved that win, and then he basically gave him another like promo talk at the end of it, even though he barely just missed out on the skills win. But overall, that whole night, Alex Barton was consistent. He was leading the overall heading into freestyle, but unfortunately got lost it to Weston. And besides that, Fernando Martinez got his first overall for this season. So yeah, Pittsburgh was looking like a huge night of different winners.
Just waiting
I
for
just
it as
realized the
always.
mic was off. So what a weekend it was. Highlights provided from Monster Truck Lord on Instagram. And we didn't see anyone else that was there in Pittsburgh. So of course, if you guys got any footages, or if you were there, attended at any of the shows, any of the days of the weekend, go ahead and send it to us here on SDSL Off the Track, and we'll share it to you here. Um, Other than that,
My side broke for a second.
so yeah, what a weekend it was in Pittsburgh. We know, like Dorsey just said, Central is not the best arena tour right now. But it did have some crazy moments, especially Joe Dennis crashing, Alex Barton getting the win. But other than that, that will do it from Arena Central. Now we'll move on to Arena East, from basically around somewhere in the same state of Great Old Pennsylvania. It is Arena East from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, in the Mohegan Sun Arena. And we'll lead it off to Dorsey. Go ahead.
All right, so we had a crazy. Well, I don't know if it was crazy. I haven't really seen any highlights from the show. But besides that, we had a lot of different winners from this past weekend. And starting off, we had timed racing, and we're starting off huge because Mark Hall and Raminator took home the timed racing win. This show had the Sky Wheelie competition. Kristen Anderson took the Sky Wheelie competition, the freestyle, and the overall event championship. But Armando Castro took home the skills competition for the Friday evening show. Moving on to Saturday afternoon, Cody Saucier, being the arena racer of the year from last year, still proving it with the timed racing win. Zach Gardner and Wildside with the Sky Wheelie competition. Kristen Anderson with the skills competition. And then Armando Castro takes home the freestyle and overall event championship by 1 point. And moving on to Saturday evening, Cody Saucier once again picking up the timed racing competition. Zach Garner and Wildside took home the Sky Wheelie and the skills competition. And then Kristen Anderson took home the freestyle. And then tie-in with Zach Garner and Wildside, since she had the higher freestyle, Kristen Anderson took home the overall event championship. And then for the last show of the weekend, Sunday afternoon, Cody Saucier, 3 in a row for the timed racing competition. Zach Garner taking home another wheelie competition. Armando Castro and El Toro Loco takes home the skills competition. And then ending the night, Cody Saucier and Dragon takes home the freestyle win. And then a 3-way tie with 26 points between Zach Garner, Armando Castro, and Cody Saucier. But Cody Saucier takes home the last overall event championship because he had the higher freestyle.
All right, and now did want to talk about some things here. Now we're starting to see the wheelie competition is starting to pop up once again. For certain arenas that don't allow the donut competition to happen, uh, which I think a lot of people are starting to agree that whether it's Sky Wheelie or Relay Race, one of the two competitions are always obviously better than doing just donuts. Um, and so that's what we got here for both Pennsylvania shows. and also got some highlights provided here by Mac Bulldog Mac on Instagram, who I believe was there for show, who was there for show two, as it says on the caption. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it was a show. But honestly, Zach Garner, when I combined all the points together, actually got more points than anyone from that weekend. So he made a huge jump with the point standards, even though he didn't take a single overall. He was very consistent that weekend.
This tour sure loves some time racing.
Yeah, Province is so far the only show that they haven't done timed racing, I
We're starting.
think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we've.
that's the only one.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of time racing out of these guys. But other than that, I don't know what else to talk about for East. Other than that, then we're gonna get to the points here in a little bit. Uh, so let's talk about East since we'll crunch up some time here. Dorsey, you did go to one of the shows lately or a couple of weeks ago. What did you think of East as in general?
I really like the East Tour because this competition is very close between the top three, between Kristen, Armando, and Cody. They're all 40 points apart from each other. Well, not for well, Cody is around like 40 points behind the leader, and then Armando is like 15 with Kristen leading, and Zach Garner is taking some wins as well, being very consistent. I think overall this tour is going to come down to the final weekend.
And Nafajan, what are your thoughts as to Arena East?
Honestly, I think this is definitely the most competitive arena tour there is. While Central and West might be runaways, this one is definitely close, and that's really what makes this tour entertaining. Is that anybody can win. Take Mark Hall for example. Literally anybody can win on this tour.
That's right. Now we're going to start looking into the points here for all the Arena series. So starting off with Arena Series East, your top five are Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger, leading with 435. Your previous leader was Armando Castro, who is now sitting in second place with 418. It is only a 17-point deficit from the leader. And then on third, we have Cody Saucier and Dragon with 386. Zach Garner and Wildside with 342. Chad Tingler and Overboard with 233. And moving on to Arena Series West this past weekend, Brandon Vincent is still your leader, collecting 200 career overalls, sitting in first with 636. Tony Oaks and Thunder Warriors beating Gravedigger most of the entire weekend, uh, sitting in second with 529. Jurassic Attack and Dalton Widener with 510. MJ Solario with El Toro Lagoon 412. Now, I did also want to mention about MJ Solario here in actually just right now. What an awesome save he had in the skills competition. I'm not going to go dig for my clip right now. I did share it on a couple Discords and obviously in the chat as well. But, brother, that is the first time at some point I expected a save, like that, going from one side of the pot onto the other. But the way he did it on Sunday, he was setting up for a reverse popper from one side of the arena. It rolls over onto the back, but it slowly starts to come back into all fours on the other side of the pot it was heading to. And what an awesome save he had in skills. He is in fourth with 412, and then Ashley Sanford and Logan Ashline with Megalodon with 401 in fifth. And then for Arena Central, brother, at this point, just give it to him. Weston Anderson and Gravedigger with 598. Fernando Martinez having an awesome weekend with El Torlaco with 455. Brianna Mahan and Scooby Doo with 416. Brandon Talashka with Just Got It Done too, 405 and fourth. And then Jamie Sullivan, Joe Dennis, Chelsea Van Cleve with the Dalmatians with 356. And that is the points we have for the Arena series. Now we'll move on to the start moving on to the stadiums that we had this past weekend, and we're going to start off with with the series from Houston, not Arena, Stadium Series West from Houston, Texas, for the first time out of California, only to end up back in California this upcoming weekend. But taking it over to Houston for one show is Nafajen.
That is right. One show only for Stadium Series West in the big Lone Star State, Houston, Texas. Taking a look here at the results from that one day. Your racing finals. It is the Anderson brothers, Adam and Gravedigger, Ryan and Son of a Digger, and it is the younger brother Ryan getting the best out of Adam to start off strong, winning the racing competition. Going into the Great Clip Skills Challenge, your winner there is also Ryan Anderson. And freestyle competition, Ryan Anderson finishes second place behind, you guessed it, Joe Foley and El Toro Loco, grabbing another freestyle win. However, Son of a Digger with 35 points grabs another overall event championship on the season.
You know, we've seen a lot of competition wins from various drivers in Stadium West. But let's talk about the man, Joe Foley, and El Toro Loco picking up his third straight freestyle win. He got one in San Diego, got one in Anaheim, and got one this past weekend in Houston. Starting off with Dorzy, what do you think about this man's freestyle wins?
And if Joe Foley doesn't get breakout superstar of the year this year, they got this all wrong. He's right now leading the freestyle wins on this tour. And this tour has Adam Anderson, Ryan Anderson. Camden Murphy still hasn't even gotten a freestyle win yet. Joe Foley and this El Toro Loco brand is really helping him. And he's really jumping up in the points too. I think he's 7th right now. And yeah, that freestyle run he had in Houston was really good.
And Nafajin, what are your thoughts on Joe Foley?
Joe Foley is a madman. I mean, he was already like that when he was in Axe, but seeing him in El Toro Loco picking up freestyle win after freestyle win, it is awesome to see this wild young driver taking over a monster jam for these last few weeks.
Yeah, it is great to see Joe Foley, you know, not being shy under the wheel this year and starting to show up some more. Now that he's running a Feld body, I think it's it helps him out a lot more. Um, but we had some great highlights videos brought to you by Project Rod on Instagram. He was also doing his own little steel tying series, not SDSL related, but he's doing his own little steel tying series, which is cool to see. Uh, hopefully we could bring that man over to Steel SDSL season 5, hopefully. But other than that, that is Houston for West as they're going back to Anaheim, unfortunately, but for the final time this season. Uh, and that'll and we're looking to the point. Actually, we're looking to the points after East, which we're now going to carry on over for the two crazy shows we had in Tampa, Florida, and the Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to lead it over to Dorzy.
Man, this was a wild weekend here in Tampa. And we'll start off with the first show. The first show had Bryce Kenny versus Tristan England in the finals. But Tristan England in the JCB Digatron truck takes home the race and win. And then the rest of the show, Tyler wins skills, Tyler wins freestyle, and then Tyler wins the overall. So that's overall number 8, I believe, for Tyler. And then, of course, we didn't even mention this, but we had 2 returning drivers, one of them being Nick Pagliarulo returning back to the wheel in Kraken. And then one major thing was Colton Eichelberger returning to the seat in Max D after the unfortunate news of Tom Menz of the injury he had the past weekend in Indianapolis. And and also announced that he won't be returning at the seat at all this whole season, and Colton Eichelberger will be driving the rest of the season. We'll talk more onto that, but before we do that, the show number 2 was wild. The finals was Todd LeDuc and Megalodon taking on Tristan England in the JCB Digatron, and Tristan goes 2 for 2 in the race and wins, beating Todd LeDuc. And then Tyler, unfortunately, having truck issues, couldn't make it out to racing, but did make it out to the skills, and only had 1 hit and came in 11th. But Todd LeDuc and Megalodon finally getting his first competition win of the season, taking home the skills win. And then for freestyle, which I just realized he got the exact same score he did in skills with a 9.692, unless they did this wrong. Todd LeDuc takes home the freestyle win and then also takes home the overall event championship, almost clean sweep in the show. Only needed that racing win in the finals. But man, was this a prime Todd LeDuc show. It's great to see that he had really good luck this whole weekend. And then the unfortunate Tyler breakage, only picking up 2 points because he performed in skills.
It's not that everyone got lucky just because Tyler's truck started to work like crap on Sunday. I think it's starting to. It's. I think there's a lot of multiple factors here. It's the first one here that Todd LeDuc, uh, Todd LeDuc and the truck are starting to finally work as one again. And also we're back at primetime Todd LeDuc that we've seen years past, winning skills and freestyle and an overall. Not only that, JCB's own Tristan England also got 2 wins. Now, unfortunately, I know this weekend was not his favorite at all, but I can't complain getting two racing wins on the same weekend, which is usually always a Tyler Meninga thing. But saying it out of Tristan getting both on the same weekend is awesome. Now, I also did want to talk about the other thing. Um, we'll get to one. We'll go from one to the other here, like a transfer. First of all, it is the return or re-debut of the Candy Apple Red Max D, and just like Tom's injury in Indianapolis, the truck got hurt as well. Now they are currently rebuilding it, which led to the CRD Max D coming back for a little while. We don't know, when, but other than that, under the wheel of that CRD Max D, it is Colton Eichelberger. And now the last week we talk about it. We were going about speculations of it being Colton Eichelberger, and I said, logically thinking it could be Blake Granger, but great, it's awesome to see that it is Colton Eichelberger. Sure, he said it is not, it's unfortunate that he had to come back, but I think there's gonna be more things about this too. I think this is gonna liven up the series some more now that since we got 3 awesome competitors, which are a lineup themselves. That is Tristan England, Tyler Meninga, and Colton Eichelberger. These 3 guys have all competed each other, and not only that, these 3 have competed on the very same rookie season for Tristan England. Uh, so this will be an awesome season, rest of the season. Now, unfortunately, like you said, Tom Mentz is out for basically the rest of the season. Who knows if he'll get to come back for World Finals? Um, because neck injuries are seriously nothing to mess around with, which could end up something being critical. Uh, you know, once you make more put more damage to it. I mean, you know, gratefully he is now okay. He just has to make a speed recovery. But Colton Eichelberger, man, is like, you know, he sure had to knock up a little bit of ring rust, but he still looks fresh out there. Still like if it was 2 years, like if it was 2021. Um, Now, well, let's talk about Colton Eichelberger here for a moment. Starting off with Dorzy, what did you think of that guy?
And the last time I saw Colton Eichelberger was Stafford of 2019, and this was a show where Scott Buteau was in it, Lindsey Wing, Brian Anderson, Randy Brown, like the top of the top, and he basically clean swept the entire show. This man knows how to drive, and it showed it this past weekend in that Candy Red Apple Max D. That first show, he came in second in the overall, placing fourth in freestyle, third in the skills, made it to the semis of racing. He knew, well, it still shows that he still has it in the driver's seat. The second show, not as much. You can tell the rain rust is still there, but overall, I think this was definitely a very good first showing for Colton Eichelberger.
And Alphagen, your thoughts on Colton Eichelberger?
Old Eichelberger, what a man. It was definitely awesome to see him come back into the scene of Monster Jam, but unfortunate the circumstances that he had to come back. Filling in for his stepdad, Tom Mintz, one of the greatest drivers of all time. But it was cool to see him driving that delicious, tasty Candy Apple Red Max D. Still at his A game, it looks like, because he had a good showing this weekend in Tampa, especially the first night.
Yeah, Colton Eichelberger. Now, the other thing I did actually kind of want to talk about as well, we don't know how long he'll be with the CRD for. Like I said, they are rebuilding the Willman truck. Uh, but honestly, if Colton does get to drive the Willman truck, it's gonna be even more amazing because we all know he loves that Willman more than he does the CRD, and we don't blame him. Obviously, we don't. None of us here are drivers, but we've heard from him. He loves that truck more than a CRD or any other truck in that case. Um, but can't wait to see how Colton Eichelberger performs in the next upcoming months to finish off Stadium Series East for Tom. Um, and honestly, as disappointing as it is for all the fans that were excited to see Tom Mentz's last time in their respective cities, even from mine in Denver in this upcoming April. Uh, but honestly, Colton Eichelberger coming back this soon is not in my cards. And also, thanks to the highlights provided by our very own SDSL commentator, Avengers Racing, who was in his hometown show of Tampa this past weekend. Awesome. Okay. As I'm looking at all of these clips, I did want to talk about that Morgan and Morgan backflip. Every show we've seen so far, everyone has gone a double back, not a exact consecutive backflip like how Bryce Kenny did the last couple of weekends. We're seeing like backflip rollover backflips. And I did want to talk about that for a moment because we've seen that literally in every freestyle and in every backflip that we've seen so far. Starting off with Nafagen, your thoughts on that Morgan and Morgan backflip?
It is definitely a backflip ramp of all time. They always got to get those backflips for the people, Morgan and Morgan. But that step up, man, it is quite the monster. Like, literally. Like, on Sunday afternoon, I don't think anybody even bothered to try to jump over that step up ramp. Especially seeing what happened to Tristan England in the JCB Digatron on Saturday night. Like how he tried to jump the step up, but he jumped crooked, like wasn't square on. So he landed off the side and onto the side of the truck. So having the backflips into that giant step up is definitely an interesting choice. But it is what it is. I don't make the track.
Dorsey, your thoughts on this?
I don't know. It seems like a lot of the drivers are over rotating it, saving it, getting consecutives. It's been a wild. I don't know what's going on with these trucks, but something about that backflip this season seems like everyone's been doing it. Joe Foley did it in one freestyle again. Tyler Duke did it in the Sunday show, and he also won freestyle. So it seems like if you want to win a freestyle competition, you got to do a consecutive backflip
Yeah,
or
and
a save.
yeah. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Like lately, that I don't know how they set up that backflip exactly, but everyone, like Nafijin said, they have been over rotating, saving it. That's at least the good part. From we've seen the last couple of weeks out of Shaker, Black Pearl, so many times. We've seen one out of Colton Eichelberger on his first freestyle back, uh, tearing off that beautiful Max D red body. But other than that is basically all the highlights we've covered from Tampa. I don't know exactly anything else. Do you guys remember anything?
Which I think we covered a lot of it.
All right. Now we'll move on to the stadium points for both the series, starting off with Stadium Championship Series East. Your current leader is Tyler Meninga in Gravedigger with 286 and only 6 points behind him after having a, not so great weekend, but two critical racing wins. Thanks to Gravedigger 39 not working properly. It is JCP Digatron and Tristan England, last year's Road Finals racing champion, only 6 points behind Gravedigger with 280. Third is Tom Mintz and Colton Eichelberger, another father and son duo that we've had here. Under Max D with 238, that is only 48 points behind first. And then we also have Todd LeDuc and Megalodon having a great day on Sunday, picking up two wins and an overall. 233 in fourth, and then John Gordon in Bad Company, 222 in fifth. And now we'll move on to Stadium Series West from Houston this past weekend. Your still leader is Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger with 320. Camden Murphy and Bakugan only 29 points behind with 291. And then right behind him, only 1 point behind from second, is Adam Anderson and Gravedigger with 290. Barry Musauer and Zombie with 238. And Corey Rommel, who we still have not seen a win from. Usually he always picks up a win here and there. We still have a lot of shows to go. He's in fifth with 235. And what a week we had this past weekend. Don't you guys agree?
Yes, sir.
It's been quite a week.
Now, what a week we'll have this upcoming weekend, starting off with some of the independent shows we have this weekend. Starting off with Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, I believe that is it. Ram Motorsports Spectacular. Ram Motorsports Spectacular once again in Canada with the Cali Kid with Travis Ibarra, Crude Behavior with Jared Vogel, Identity Theft with Marvin Anderson, Napa Auto Parts Monster Truck with Carson Williams, Rockstar under Bill Payne, Roughneck with Jason Court, and Spitfire with Dallas Glenn Rogers. And then we'll move on to a Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live in Cape Girardeau in Missouri. In Missouri. I swear, every time it's an M and it's a U.S. state, I am automatically blank. Cape Girardeau. Your lineup is Joe Cipher under 5 Alarm, Eric Steinberg in Bigfoot, Clint Watson in Bone Shaker, Dylan Bart's Demo Derby, Ricky Fowler and Gungster, Michael Phelps and Megarex, Caden Morris and Tiger Shark. And then we also have Highland Heights, Kentucky, with Cody Holman under 5 Alarm, Cody Smith, Bigfoot, Preston Perez, Bone Shaker, Taylor Holman, Demo Derby, Mike Mentor, Gungster, Devin Wheeler with Megarex, and Bobby Holman with Tiger Shark. And then overseas, they'll be over at the Great United Kingdom in London, UK, with Craig Christensen under 5 Alarm, Rebecca Schnell, Bigfoot, Nick Migas, Bone Shaker, Allison Patrick with Demo Derby, Darren Schnell, Gungster, Rex Steffens, and Megarex, and Anthony Ritter with Tiger Shark. And then we have No Limits Monster Trucks in Pikeville, Kentucky, with Black Stallion under Mike Vaughters, Excavator with Gage Bursey, Higher Education with Chris DeHoyos, Overkill Evolution with Steve Thompson, Taurus under Ryan Robinson, and Virginia Giants with Cliff Bowell. And then we also have another show from them in Billings, Montana. We have Double Trouble. Actually, I'm not sure if these will be exactly Double Trouble and First Responder, or this will be the veteran and... Actually, no, hold on. We do have the veteran in this lineup. So far, in this lineup, it's as I'm reading it. We don't know so far, so we'll have to see this Friday. Double trouble with announced driver, first responder with TBI as well. Geronimo with Brandon Swick. Eric Swanson's obsessed with Eric Swanson, pretty obsessed with Misha Ferris, and the veteran with Tyler Groth. And then we have the Monsters of Destruction in DuQuoin, Illinois. We have Against the Grain with Brad Shepard, Illuminator with Corey Snyder, Jurassic Attack with Tim Hall Jr., Kamikaze with Joe Yuri, and we have Redneck Rampage with, oh boy, the Gravedigger driver of all time and the Monster Rottweiler driver of all time, Rod Schmidt. And then we also have Toxic with an announced driver. And then we also have the 2X Monster Trucks live tour in Conwood, Alabama. Jimmy Crane is back behind the wheel under Bounty Hunter, Mike Brister and Hot Tamale, Don Cretan, Scarlet Bandit, Rob Potter, and Sharkbite. And finally, actually, we have a couple more to go. We have the Monster Truck Wars in Kenansville, North Carolina, with Mighty Girl Ann Brode, Outlaw Mike Hawkins, Shark Attack Kaylee Angstrom, T-Rex with Aaron Basil, and then we also have Levelland, Texas, Mike Harper and Outlaw, Preston Collins, Shark Attack, Adam Wilson and Sheriff, Devin Jones, and T-Rex. And then we also have the MAP Motorsports in Odessa, Texas, with DCT Power Sports being in most of this lineup, with Blockhead under Darren Basil, Dirt Crew with Jerry Beck, Dirt Crew Dozer and Jack Brown, Rat Attack with Jacob Ladwig, Tailgater with Tim Jones, and then we have War Wizard with RJ Tenner. And then we have one more here, that is the Monster Truck Nitro Tour, which had recently bought the Z Tour this last weekend. They will be in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with Aftershock under Kyle Seasock, Animal House with Faith Freed. Also talking about the Freed family, they were in Tampa this last weekend. We also have Bad News Travels Fast with Brandon Durow, Culture Shock with Daniel Ames, and Temporarily Insane with Richie Jatsko. Now we have the jams from this upcoming weekend, and we're gonna make our predictions here like usual. And now we're gonna start off with Arena West from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and the Paycom Center for 3 shows this upcoming weekend. And back behind the wheel, as expected, is Ashley Sanford. And so we'll start off with 3 overall predictions. So I'm gonna start off with Dorsey. What are your predictions?
All right, great. 43 shows this weekend, so this is gonna be a long list. No, I'm kidding. Well, this one's always hard to pick the same 3 over and over again, so I think we're gonna change things up here. I think Ashley Sanford and Megalodon is gonna come back and take home one of the overall event championships, and I think Brandon Vincent will take one of the overall event championships. And then, if I'm looking at my stat chart. Just give me 1 second. Nope, that's Stadium West. Arena West. Surprisingly, Tony Oaks still only has 1 overall event championship, so I think he's going to take another one this weekend.
All right, now, Fajane, what are your 3 overall predictions for Oklahoma?
I'm going to say Brandon Vincent gets 2 overall event wins, while Tony Oaks gets the other one.
The Knoxville man not picking the Knoxville man. That's crazy.
Now I'm
I know, but hey, with how the season's going, unpredictable.
Now I'm gonna think
just gotta go out of whack sometimes.
Now I'm gonna think a little bit outside of the box and logically here for what I've seen this last Sunday and over the weekend from Denver. I'm gonna say these 3 drivers are gonna get 1 each, but in no particular order. So I think Brandon Vincent is gonna get 1, maybe through consistency. Tony Oaks is gonna pick up 1 as well, and then Dalton Widener will pick up 1 as well. So those are my 3 picks for Oklahoma, and we'll move on to Worcester, Massachusetts. And Dorsey, you're not going to this show, right?
I will be going. I'll be going Saturday afternoon.
Awesome to see.
Yeah, I'm only going to 1.
All right. Now we do have 4 shows this upcoming weekend. Like you said, you're going to the Saturday afternoon. Besides that show, what other 3 predictions do you have?
All right, so besides the show I'm going to, I'm going to say Weston gets all 3 of them. And then the show that I'm going, I don't want to see Weston win. So I'm going to say the return of Jamie Sullivan, since she announced that she will be driving this weekend in Worcester. I think she'll get the one that I'll be at. Which, honestly, if it's not Gravedigger, I'll be happy. But I think it's going to be Jamie Sullivan.
And now, Nafajan, your 4 picks for Worcester.
I'm going to say that Teeny Man and Jamie Sullivan go 50-50. 2 for each of them.
All right, all right. And so my picks, at this point, Dalmatian's gonna have a lot of ground to pick up, and I don't think she's gonna have a lot of time by the end of this season. I think Weston's gonna beat her at the game. Weston's gonna pick up all 4, and so that'll now,
Yawn.
and so that'll now leave. Go on to Cleveland, Ohio for Arena East. And now we also have 4 shows this upcoming weekend. Dorsey, your picks.
Which one? East, sorry. I'm thinking we're on stadiums. For the East show, man, this one's always the hardest one to pick because there's so many good drivers. Um, I don't think Gardner has actually gotten an overall so far this season. No, okay, I'm gonna say Garner gets 1. Zach Garner and Wildside. Kristen gets 1. Honestly, I'm just gonna say 1 apiece. Zach Garner gets 1, Kristen 1, Armando 1, and Cody Saucier 1.
All right, then Nafajan, your picks for Cleveland, Ohio.
I was about to say that exact same thing. I'm going to say all 4 of those drivers each get an overall.
You know what? I might have to agree. This competition is a little bit tight. And it's actually probably the best arena series out there. Which, yeah, I'm going to have to agree that.
I'm gonna make. Sorry, you can keep going.
Like I said,
I was gonna say. Damn. It's Spotify, huh? Okay, but just one thing real quick. I'm gonna make a prediction real quick in that I'm gonna say Kristen's still gonna have the lead, but she's gonna be winning by 1 point from Armando. That's gonna be my prediction.
All right. So like I said, 4 same overalls. And now we'll be moving on to the stadiums. Now we'll get to Anaheim because oh my God, we've been here almost like it feels all year. We've been here this last November. We've been here the last January. We've been here literally just this upcoming weekend. So please, this be the last time with Anaheim. And I know it is because we do have the 2 final shows of the season so far in Anaheim. One Saturday, one Sunday. Now let's start off with Dorsey, your picks for Anaheim West.
All right, I'm gonna say the points battle is gonna be closer now. I think Adam Anderson is gonna take home an overall event championship. And we've been saying that this man still hasn't gotten any wins, and I think he's going to do it. Corey Rummel, Megalodon, will take home the 2nd overall event championship.
Now for your picks.
There's only 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Monster GM going to Anaheim 3 to 4 times a year. But for overalls, I'm going to say Ryan Anderson gets 1, and then another one. It's going to be won by Campton Murphy.
I have to agree. For one, I think for overalls, I think this is gonna be the Adam and Ryan Anderson show. I know I do want to say Camden Murphy or Corey Rummel, but the way things have been looking lately, it's the Andersons taking over once again. But yeah, those are my 2 picks, Ryan and Adam. Which now that lead over to northern of the states and into Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is, talk about Minneapolis real quick. It was the supposed rumor location for WrestleMania 41. It is now switching. There's a possible relocation to Las Vegas. Which I'll talk about just that real quickly. Dorsey, how do you feel about that?
Honestly, I didn't even know about that. So how do I feel about that? I don't care about Las Vegas. Just kind of, I
I
don't know.
mean, it was
It's
gonna.
it's Las Vegas. I
I mean,
guess it makes
it
sense.
was gonna happen one way or another, but Minneapolis was a fine location. But
Yeah.
this is a fine location for Monster Jam this upcoming weekend, and we do have our friends Zachary and Caden and Gavin going. Um, we'll share their highlights this next weekend. We do have two shows this upcoming weekend. It is also Stadium East. Now, the only change we have here, apart from Tom Mentz, is Colton Eichelberger. Also, Nick Pellegrillo back since this last weekend. Other than that, Store Z, take it away.
So what we just saw this past weekend with truck problems with Tyler, it's going to be hard to choose now. I think Tyler still gets one of the overall event championships. Man, I don't know. I said I was going to pick both of him last week, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to jinx him, aren't I? And I did. So do I do that again? Do I pick him twice again? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say Tyler gets one. I think Tristan will get the other.
Now forgetting your picks.
I'm gonna go a little crazy here. I'm gonna say the former triple threat rivals split it. Tyler Meninga with one, and Colton Eichelberger with one.
And now I'm gonna have to say now I do want to say Tyler Meninga, but I'm not confirming that. I like to say I think for one, Colton Eichelberger is gonna get one. He has never been to Minneapolis before. At least I think that was because he has driven for Tom in 2017 as well, for the exact same reason. Um, but I think Colton will get one. But for the second one, I think Todd LeDuc will pick up another one and have another great day as well. And so that is all of our predictions for Minneapolis and for all the five tours running this weekend for Monster Jam. Now we'll move it on, take it on over to Doors Z, who did want to talk about the rankings or his rankings more so uh, from Monster Jam. So take it away, Dorsey.
We haven't done this in the past 2 weeks, which I completely forgot about. But on my Instagram page, I've been now been showing the top 24. I'm not going to go over all 24, but I'll go over the top 10 real quick. I don't know if I should keep counting Tom Menz on this, but as of right now, he's number 10 still. But if we're not going to count him, then Todd LeDuc will be number 10 with an average of 23.30. Ninth is Armando Castro and El Toro Loco with an average of 24.58. Kristen Anderson with a 25.58. Adam Anderson with a 26.36. Camden Murphy with a 26.45. And now for the top five drivers, in fifth, we got Brandon Vinson with a 26.50. Weston Anderson in fourth with a 27.18. Tristan England in third with a 28 flat. Second is Tyler Meniga with a 28.60. And then taking first place for the first time this season, because Tyler's been first literally every week, is Ryan Anderson with a 29.09. And that's the top 10.
You know,
Wow.
I think your rankings make more sense than Monster Jam does, which I'll pull up here in just a moment. So Monster Jam rankings make absolutely no sense, but at the same time, I guess they do. So for your top five ranked power rankings by Monster Jam, this is the Monster Jam power rankings. The top spot right now is Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, who for and this driver is in second now because for the last 6 weeks, Tyler Minigan and Gravedigger finally drops a spot and loses it to Ryan. In third is currently Weston Anderson, who just got a spot up from fourth. He's now third. And then JCB Tristan England now in fourth. And then Brandon Vincent and Gravedigger. this rankings, I don't know how they do it. I don't know why they do it, but I don't know. Dorsey, how do you think about what do you feel about those rankings?
Complete. Well, there's some similarities. I think the top, besides Tristan and Weston, the top five are the exact same, and then actually I think the top seven are the same, besides the Tristan and Weston swap. But for some reason, Kristen is still behind Armando, and she's been leading the tour for the past 2 weeks. So I don't understand that. But overall, I think it's okay. But we don't know what they're basing it off of, which is the confusing part.
Yeah. So if anything, we rather believe rankings that make more sense uh, by Dorsey. And also, the last bit of Monster Jam news, you can now finally pick up your own Monster Jam exclusive, and this one's very awesome because this is the first independent Monster Jam exclusive, and it is what I like to call the Spider Avenger. Uh, this looks awesome. It does look like the Overcast event. I mean, it does look like an Overcast Avenger. But it's really it's awesome spider themed and all. This is really out of the blue, but being the first independence exclusive, and I hope they do this more for more independents, like Bad Company. That one will really go hard. Started. I'd like to go off with Dorsey. What did you think about the exclusive?
Man, this is definitely my favorite exclusive that they've done so far. I already ordered mine. Of course, it makes sense for the first independent to be Jim Kohler. This guy's been driving for so long. He's the only driver to perform at every World Finals. And of course, he's Mr. Excitement. And this right now has been the 11th different Avenger that Spin Master has made, and we still don't have the normal green one.
Nafajen, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, yeah, Jim Cole, Spider-Man, Avengers truck. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yes.
Crazy to
No,
think.
to be
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
be honest with you, it is a pretty cool concept that Avenger is getting an exclusive, and very interesting to have a spider themed. I guess next time I'll see Jim Kohler, I'll ask him like what inspired him to have that kind of paint scheme or concept, and hopefully we get to see it run in real life.
Yeah, seeing this in
Maybe it's
real
a
life.
tease.
Yeah, yeah, seeing this in real life would be awesome. Like I said, I hope we get more independent exclusives. Like I said, a Bad Company one would be so sick. Uh, and also, also to say this, I can't believe we got a Spider Avengers toy truck before we got GTA 6.
Before we got the normal neon green.
Before, yeah, we'll probably get.
And
Good.
we're also getting like a yellow overcharged Avenger before the neon green.
Yeah, watch them drop Avenger Nitro in like the next 2 years and still won't drop a regular Green Bel Air.
Nope.
But I
It's
believe
gonna be
that
the
is.
last Spin Master they've ever made.
What's a green Bel Air?
No, right. That is, I believe, all the news we had this weekend. So we can't wait to see what week 7 brings up. We're gonna see a lot of crazy highlights from all the arena tours, all the stadium tours, all the independent tours, and that is week 6. We're now coming into week 7. Thank you guys for coming in for us. We'll start off with the ads. Nafajan.
You can find me at Nafagen on Instagram and YouTube.
And Dorsey.
And you can find me at Dorzy on Instagram and YouTube. I'll be going to the Worcester show this weekend for Saturday afternoon, so get ready for footage of that show.
And then you can follow me at Lane_Flores2. You can also subscribe to me at Lane Flores Morel on YouTube. I'm still currently uploading my Denver footage. Now I did actually want to, since I did get asked this on one of my posts, and I actually kind of want to ask you guys, do you think I should start doing full shows?
You
Yes.
want?
Which I've thought about it. Maybe I should, but that is just a suggestion. I still have open my head. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I not. Maybe I won't, brother. Um, But also, don't forget to follow the STSL Off the Track accounts here on Instagram. And don't forget to follow the main account, that is Steel Time Sports League. Their BMP league is still looking hot, going into World Finals in Nashville this March, which we'll see here for a post. Moss Patrol, the Barn Burner, getting ready for their intros last weekend for the Saturday tour. And also this post right here, they're working hard on getting the track ready for their Superstar Challenge in March 30th. And I don't know anything else for as far as the BMP guys. If you guys are interested in signing up for the BMP League, go ahead and follow Steel Time Sports League. Or if you're already in the Discord, you can go ahead and ask Michael Barth for more info on that. But other than that, I think that'll be it. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. That is at Steel Time Sports League. Don't forget to listen to us on Spotify as well, and Spotify for podcasters. And we'll also provide the links for the merch down below in the descriptions. But other than that, what a week we had. And that'll be it from us here in STSL Off the Track. Thank you to everyone listening here tonight. And this was STSL Off the Track. Week 7 is starting now.
Yeah.
Even though I botched the intro because I said this was week 7.